My name is David Turner. I am 27 years old, and I work as a customer service agent at Harmony Tech Solutions in Chicago. Every morning, I take the train to our busy office downtown. I usually feel proud of my work. I help people solve problems, and I enjoy talking to customers. My desk is near the big windows so I can see the city lights at night. The office is always full of voices and ringing phones. My team shares jokes and sometimes brings donuts, but lately, something feels different. I sense that a bigger test is waiting for me. Today started like any other day. I walked into the office with my usual coffee in hand. I smiled at my coworkers and tried to look confident, but my hands were shaking. My manager, Mr. Carter, called the team for a quick morning meeting. He looked serious when he spoke. He said we must increase our customer satisfaction scores this month. I listened carefully and nodded like everyone else, but I felt a little nervous inside. I wondered if I was doing enough. Was I a strong worker? Could I help the team reach these new goals? When I returned to my desk, Sasha, a friendly coworker, leaned over and whispered, "Don't worry, David. We'll handle it as a team." Her smile made me feel a little better, but my worry did not leave. I remembered I had made a small mistake on a customer email yesterday. I sent the wrong information by accident. That customer was upset and called back twice. I tried my best to fix the problem, but the mistake hurt my confidence. A new task appeared on my screen from our team leader, Alex. He gave me a long list of customer calls to make regarding a computer system update. The list was much longer than usual and difficult names were marked for me. Alex sent a short message, "No mix-ups this time, David. Double-check everything before you send out those updates." His words sounded sharp and cold. My heartbeat went faster. I felt stressed and wanted to do everything perfectly. I started calling customers. One call after another, I followed the instructions carefully, reading every detail before explaining the update. My voice shook during some calls, and one customer complained their update was still having problems. I tried not to panic, but I apologized again and again, promising to help. After the call, I checked the notes and made sure not to miss anything. Alex watched me from his desk nearby. Sometimes he stood up and looked at our screens. When he spoke, his voice was loud so everyone could hear. "David, don't forget to log every detail," he said after one of my calls. The words made me more nervous. I typed each note with extra care. Still, I wondered if I was too slow or if I kept asking too many questions. During our lunch break, I heard Alex laughing with some other team members. Their jokes made people smile, but I was not sure if I could join them. Sasha came by and asked if I was okay. I said yes, but inside I was not sure. I did not want others to see I was worried. I wanted to prove I was a good worker, but sometimes I was afraid of making more mistakes. When I returned to my desk, I took a deep breath. I looked at my to-do list, which felt longer than ever. I wanted to show Alex and the team that I could be strong, but doubts followed me all day. I told myself to keep trying, even if it was hard. Right after lunch, I returned to my desk and noticed a new email from Alex. The subject line read, "Urgent. System update deadline moved up." My heart sank as I clicked the message. Alex said we now had only one day to finish all the customer calls, not 2 days like before. He wrote, "David, you are responsible for the second half of the list. Do not let us fall behind again." The words felt heavy. I rubbed my eyes and tried to calm myself, but my mind started to race. How was I supposed to finish so much in such a short time? The noise around me grew louder, the phones ringing and people typing, and my head began to ache. Alex soon walked by my desk, his face serious and his steps quick. He stopped and pointed at my screen. "You need to be faster, David. No mistakes. We cannot waste time fixing errors," he said with a frown. His voice was loud enough for nearby coworkers to hear. I felt embarrassed and small. I nodded, but I could feel my face turning red. I wanted to do better, but that did not make the work go away. The pressure felt heavier, like a thick blanket over my shoulders. In the next hour, I made call after call, trying my best to speak clearly and answer every question the customers had. Each time I finished one call, 5 more tasks popped into my inbox. I barely had time to take a breath. My hands shook as I typed notes, and it became hard to focus on each step. One customer was angry and raised his voice. He said he already received an update, but it did not fix his problem. I apologized and went through every instruction again, but his anger made me nervous. When I finished the call, I made a small typing mistake in my report. Alex noticed quickly and sent me a message, "Wrong info again. Fix it." I tried not to let the words bother me, but it was difficult. Later in the afternoon, Alex called the team for a meeting. He said customer reviews were low and we had to work late tonight to meet the new deadline. The room felt heavy. My teammate Sasha looked tired and gave me a small smile. I wanted to believe things would get better, but I was not sure anymore. My shoulders were tense and I felt my chest tighten with worry. The clock on the wall ticked slowly and I counted the hours left in the day. After the meeting, I sat at my desk and remembered why I took this job. I wanted to grow, to feel proud, and to help people. Now, with all this pressure, I was not sure I could. Still, I realized something needed to change. I could not keep working the same way and hope things would get easier. I needed to find a new way to manage my time, ask for help when I was stuck, and not let my fear control me. I looked at my busy screen and knew I had to step up. My next decision could change everything. As the evening grew later, our office lights made sharp shadows on the walls. My desk felt smaller with every passing hour. Most of the team worked quietly in their own spaces, lost in phone calls and the glow of monitors. I looked at my long list of calls and realized I was running out of time. My head hurt and my eyes were tired. Each call felt harder than the last. I saw that I still had 5 more customers to reach before midnight. If I finished late, everyone on my team would notice. If I made another mistake, I worried Alex would be even more unhappy with me. For a moment, I put my head in my hands and tried to breathe slowly. I wanted to give up, but something kept me going. I could hear Alex's voice in my mind, sharp and cold, telling me not to make more mistakes. Suddenly, there was a problem. A customer named Mr. Hopkins answered my call, but right away he started to yell. He was upset because his software still did not work and he had already called several times. I tried to explain, but my voice shook. I felt heat rising in my face. As Mr. Hopkins spoke louder, I struggled to think of the right words. My palms began to sweat and my heart pounded in my chest. I began to make a note of the call, but my hands would not stop shaking. I remembered my earlier mistakes and felt scared I would fail again. Alex walked by at that moment and heard the customer's angry voice through my headset. He stopped in front of my desk with a hard look on his face. Without even asking, he said, "Give me the computer. I'll handle it. Clearly, you need more training." The words made my stomach twist. I felt like the whole team was staring at me. I knew I could let him take control just to stop the embarrassment and let the problem pass by. But something inside me refused to back down now. I remembered how hard I had worked and how much I wanted to do better, not just for Alex, but for myself. For the first time, I felt like I had to stand up for myself. I looked at Alex and held the headset a bit tighter. "I can handle this, thank you," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. Alex frowned but stepped back. I looked at my computer and took another slow breath. I spoke to Mr. Hopkins again, choosing my words more carefully. I listened patiently to his concerns, repeating back what he said so he knew I cared. Then, I asked him to restart his computer one more time. This time, his voice was a little calmer. I saw that I could help if I did not panic. After the call, I fixed my report and made sure every note was correct. My heart was racing, but I knew I had tried my best. For the first time, I realized I could face pressure and not let it break me. I stood up from my chair and shook out my hands. The room was still full of busy sounds, but inside I felt lighter. If I could survive this moment, maybe I could face the next challenge too. Right after the call with Mr. Hopkins ended, I felt nervous but also a bit proud. My hands were still shaky, but I sat up straighter in my chair. I looked across the office and saw a few teammates glancing over at me. I worried they were judging me, but Sasha caught my eye and gave a small, encouraging smile. That helped me feel less alone. I took a moment to double-check my report so I would not make any mistakes with the record this time. My breathing became slower as I finished entering the right information for my team. Alex was still nearby. He walked over and stood next to my desk for a few seconds. I was afraid he would start to scold me or say I was too slow. Instead, he looked at my computer screen, then looked at me. "You finished the call," he said, his voice still firm but not as sharp as before. He added, "It looks like you fixed the issue." I nodded and waited for more. He hesitated a moment, then simply walked away. It was not exactly praise, but it also was not criticism. I felt a sense of relief. Maybe he saw that I could handle more than he thought. The rest of the evening moved quickly. My energy was low, but after that call with Mr. Hopkins, something in me changed. When I made the next customer calls, I spoke a little slower and more clearly, even when people were impatient. I kept reminding myself that I had done something hard just a little while ago. I made sure each call report was careful and neat. When customers sounded angry, I listened with patience, even if my heart was beating fast. One customer thanked me at the end of her call, saying, "I'm glad you took the time to help." Hearing that made my worries feel smaller. Around 10 p.m., the team leader called us all together to check our progress. Alex shared results on the meeting room screen. Names and numbers from the day appeared in big letters. I saw my own name and realized I had finished every call assigned to me. Sasha glanced at me and whispered, "You did really well." Other team members watched quietly. The workplace felt tense but different. No one made jokes at my expense now. I still felt tired, but there was a new kind of energy in my chest, a spark of pride. As we cleaned up our desks, Sasha walked over with her bag on her arm. "You stood up for yourself, David," she said. "Don't forget that next time things get tough." Her words stayed with me as I turned off my computer. For a long time, I thought I could only do my job if someone told me exactly what to do. Tonight, I learned I could trust myself too. Mistakes might happen, and things can become difficult, but giving up is not the answer. I learned I can keep going, ask for help if I really need it, and believe in what I can do even when others do not. I left the office late that night, but I felt lighter than I had in weeks. Walking out into the cool Chicago air, I realized the way I see my job and myself had started to change. The next morning, I woke up to the sound of my alarm with heavy eyes. My body was tired, but my heart felt a little lighter. The cold air outside fit my mood, fresh, different, almost new. On the train to work, I stared at my reflection in the window and thought about last night. I remembered how nervous I was with each phone call and how close I felt to quitting when Alex wanted to take over for me. For the first time, I had said no. I was not loud or rude, but I stood my ground. That moment stayed in my mind as I rode the train, making me feel proud and a bit surprised. I realized I was stronger than I thought. Walking into the office, I noticed things felt normal again. People chatted and computers hummed in the background. When I sat at my desk, I noticed a note taped to my monitor. It was from Sasha. Her handwriting was easy to recognize. It read, "Proud of you for not giving up. Keep it up." I smiled. Someone saw my effort, and that made all the difference in the world. I placed the note inside my drawer to keep for tough days. A little later, I met Sasha in the break room while making coffee. She asked how I felt after the busy night. I told her I was tired, but also proud of myself. She nodded and said, "It gets easier when you believe in yourself. Sometimes the toughest days show us what we can really do." We both laughed a little, and I felt the tightness in my chest relax. I realized having just one person believe in you can help you believe in yourself. My team leader, Alex, walked past me later, giving only a short nod. It was not much, but there was no angry tone in his voice and no sharp looks. Before, I thought every mistake meant I would be in trouble. Now I started to see that it is normal to struggle. Even the best people mess up. The important thing is to try again and not let fear stop you. The rest of the day, I worked through my tasks at a steady pace. Some customers were easy, some were demanding, but I remembered to breathe and take each task one by one. When I came across something I did not know, I asked Sasha or looked for the answer calmly instead of thinking I was failing. I noticed my voice sounded steadier on the phone and that I was not rushing as much. I even caught one small mistake before it turned into a problem. In those small wins, my confidence began to grow. During lunch, I sat by the windows with my sandwich, looking down at the busy Chicago street. I thought about what had changed. Problems at work felt less scary now. I realized I used to believe asking for help showed weakness. Now I understood that teamwork was stronger than fear. By facing my challenge and saying I could handle it, I discovered a new side of myself. I did not have to be perfect, I just had to keep showing up and doing my best. Every hard day was a chance, not just to work, but to learn and become braver. As the sun slipped behind tall buildings outside, I felt calmer than before. Maybe there would be more tough days or even harder problems, but I did not feel so alone now. My problems were real, but I had real strength inside me too. I stood up and got ready for the next task, knowing I could face it with a little courage and some help from friends. Anything was possible. The rest of the week at work felt different. Each morning, as I stepped off the train and walked through the cold city streets, I thought about the day ahead in a new way. Before, I always worried about what could go wrong or who might be unhappy with my work. Now, my first thoughts were about what I could do better and how I could help my team. The pressure was still there, and sometimes my chest felt tight when the phone rang or when Alex called me for a task. But instead of letting the worry get bigger in my mind, I tried something new. I reminded myself of all the times I handled tough situations and kept going. That Thursday, a big group of support tickets appeared in my inbox again, sent by Alex with another message. "Handle these today, please." In the past, my first feeling would have been panic, but this time I looked at the list carefully, made a small plan, and focused on one task at a time. I noticed that staying organized helped me move faster and make fewer mistakes. When I felt stuck or uncertain about a request, I did not just sit there feeling lost. I reached out to Sasha or even to another coworker named Maria, knowing that asking a question now could save time and trouble later. This made work feel more like teamwork and less like a fight that I had to survive by myself. My confidence showed up in little ways. On one call, a customer became upset because their account was still not fixed. My hands did not shake this time. I listened, explained the steps slowly, and stayed calm even when they raised their voice. When I did not have the answer right away, I said, "Let me check with my team so I can give you the right solution," instead of guessing and hoping for the best. The customer calmed down, and I found the right answer with Sasha's help. After that call, I caught myself smiling. I felt proud not because everything was perfect, but because I stayed true to what I had learned. Problems are not disasters, they are things to solve. Alex seemed to notice the change, too. One afternoon, he asked me to review a new process before we switched to it. He did not say much, just let me know if you see any issues. His eyes watched me as if he was testing to see if I could handle this responsibility. I worked through the steps, found a small error, and sent Alex a clear note early enough for him to make changes. He nodded when he read it. It was only a small sign of respect, but it was enough for me. On Friday, I took a few minutes by myself near the window after finishing my last report. I thought about all the changes inside me. I had started the week full of fear, making excuses for every small mistake and waiting for someone else to tell me I was good enough. Now I was facing challenges as they came, showing kindness to customers and patience with myself, and not backing down from responsibility. The team still had tough days, but now when someone looked worried, I tried to be the one to say, "It's okay. We can handle it together." As the workplace quieted down for the weekend, I packed up with a new sense of hope. The work had not become easier, but my mind was much stronger, open to learning, and willing to give every day my best. For the first time, I truly believed in both my skills and my ability to learn more. On Monday morning, I entered the office building and felt a quiet sense of calm that had not been there before. The elevators were crowded, but I no longer felt so small or nervous when I rode up with my teammates. As I walked down the hallway to my desk, each step felt steady even through the buzz of the early workday. I sat down, turned on my computer, and took a moment to watch the sunlight shining through the window. I remembered how worried I used to feel, and I knew things had changed for me. Work was still busy, and problems still came. Some calls still brought impatient voices on the other side, and stressful deadlines still appeared in my inbox sometimes. But now I met each challenge with a different mindset. When something unexpected happened, I did not get lost in fear. I stopped, took a breath, and thought, I can figure this out. Sometimes I needed help, and I did not feel bad about asking for it. Sasha sometimes checked in with me, but I also found that I could help her with small things. Our teamwork had become stronger because I had learned to rely on others as much as myself. One afternoon, Alex called me into his office. My heart beat a little faster out of habit, but I felt stronger as I sat down. He looked at me over his computer and said, "I noticed your reports are more accurate and customers have fewer complaints. Keep up the good work." He did not smile, but his words felt like the longest praise I had ever heard from him. I thanked him and walked back to my desk with a proud feeling in my chest. The work did not change, but it felt different because I was meeting it with new courage and confidence. Whenever I made a mistake or faced something new, I did not hide or blame myself now. Instead, I tried to see each moment as a way to learn more about my job and about myself. If a tough call ended badly, I wrote down what I could do better next time. If a task took too long, I thought of ideas for how to improve my process. There were still days when things did not go my way, but those days did not stop me from showing up and trying again. By the end of each week, I noticed small changes in how I carried myself and how others looked at me. My coworkers started to include me in more conversations, and sometimes new team members came to me before going to Alex. I liked that people could trust me. It made every long shift and every hard night feel like it had a purpose. I could see how my effort made a difference both for my team and for myself. Looking out at the busy streets below, I knew the future would bring more tests and harder days, but now I did not fear them in the same way. I felt sure I could grow even when things did not go perfectly. I liked the worker I was becoming, a little braver, a little kinder, and a lot more hopeful. As I packed up to go home, I thought about tomorrow not with worry, but with quiet excitement about everything I could achieve.